All right. What is up, guys? I am BubbleBass, also known as Sam. I'll be running the Spongebob Squarepants movie game, and I'll let my couch introduce themselves here.
It's early, y'all. It's early.
Nerves.
It's nerves, too. What's up, everyone? I'm Jaxler. I've been a part of the SpongeBob movie speedrunning community since 2015. I am so stoked to see this game on the main stage. We've been trying to get this game in for almost a decade at this point, so this means a lot to us. So thank you so much for letting us be here.
Hey, I'm Actualchatterteeth, or Chatter. I've been running this game around 2018, and I currently hold the any % world record, and I'm a community manager in the modding community. We haven't seen this game live in a marathon since 2019, so we're all super, super excited to see it live again.
Yeah, and the streets call me Tedious, but you know, you can call me John because we're cool like that. Former world record holder of H.H. Greg's Quest for Coupons, and also this game.
Real big deal on the couch here.
Yeah, for real. No kidding.
All right.
If you're all ready, we can do a countdown here.
All right. Let's start counting in for 3, and we'll start time on go when we select no here. All right? 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so if you've never seen the Spongebob Squarepants movie before, this is a 3D collectathon platformer that was made by Heavy Iron Studios and released in 2004. If you're familiar with the legendary game Battle for Bikini Bottom, this is made by the same team and a very, very similar engine. And so one thing that carries over from the previous game that we'll be abusing a lot is something called slope jumping. Whenever you put SpongeBob or Patrick next to a curved surface, you can trick it into giving you your double jumps back. And we use that to skip a ledge grab right there. And then we're gonna use that in combination with a speed storage glitch in order to do what's called slide skip. We're gonna slide into this rock right here to build up just a little bit of extra speed. This is gonna let us double jump right across that gap, skips a button and a cutscene. Then very briefly, we're going to break these crates to go out of bounds, and we're gonna use a spin at the very edge of this collision in order to get a double jump spin out at the end.
God, I almost
that
missed
was
that.
really close. Oh, but that's a really hard trick there, right in the first tutorial level here. And then Chatter, do you wanna cover token warping?
Yeah, so we have a strategy in this game called token warping. So you're gonna see Sam here pause right before he collects our main collectible tokens. Nice. And so what that does is lets us completely bypass the animation that SpongeBob does when he collects these tokens. Patrick can do a similar thing later. What he did while collecting that token, if you saw him doing like a little pause before that second pause, is a token buffer. We're gonna be using these kind of exploits of lag throughout the run to make some 1 or 2 frame tricks more consistent.
Okay, so Sam just did a very difficult trick right there. This is part of what's called Early Creek, where what we can do is jump on top of those buttons and activate those buttons early. You're supposed to normally hit those with either the throwing upgrade or the Sonic Wave guitar as it shows on screen. This is gonna have a couple of important implications. One, it gets us another Goofy Goober token, and we need those as our main MacGuffin in order to beat the game. But additionally, it's gonna let us get to 2 before we get to the next room. Normally the game expects us to grab a combat challenge token in order to progress the game and get the cartwheel. But by doing this instead, we can completely bypass that. And so now we're gonna actually see that token animation that Chatter was talking about earlier that we skip. It is possible on a lot of these tokens to go for it. On that particular example, it actually doesn't make a lot of sense to go for the lag buffer, which we'll cover a little bit more later. But next we're gonna be hitting a couple of things along the way as well, enemy-wise. Enemies, crates, and even freestanding pieces give us these macho points, which we can use to upgrade our moves. And we're trying to hit very specific thresholds at key points in the run. So coming up in here, we're gonna see Mindy. Hopefully we don't get Mindy stare. She's gonna give us access to the cartwheel move, which is going to be the bread and butter for movement for Patrick. You hold down the cartwheel button, you move faster, you're an active hitbox, you are a menace to society. And so something we're gonna see here in the Ounce of Bounds challenge is a bit of a shortcut. We're gonna use these crates, get a ledge grab on that object right there, use the frame right there, and then we're gonna go for another token warp. So you're gonna notice that it didn't update the counter, but it will once we load into back to the start of this level here. And now we're gonna completely bypass it. Chatter, you got this.
So this section, Sam is going to, again, be abusing a bunch of slope jumps to kind of get to the end of the level. What's really neat is that a lot of these levels kind of loop around within themselves so that we have no load screens in most of the levels in the game. Something you'll also note is that after this token, we're gonna completely be warping to the next level in the game. We cannot token frame these tokens as we do not unlock the next level. So if he tried to token frame that, we'd completely soft lock our file.
SpongeBob.
All right, and so now we're gonna be coming into our first of a couple of driving levels here. And so, yeah, we get to drive the sandwich. So driving in this game is kind of interesting. It's actually a little bit version dependent, but the basics are that you're gonna pick up these nitros, which I thought were pieces of cereal when I was like 5 years old playing this game. But they kind of function not as you would expect, like a Mario Kart mushroom turbo. They preserve your speed rather than giving you like a much higher top speed than normal. So you slow down a lot in this game while you're turning and while you're going over rough patches of terrain. So we're gonna be using the nitros at very key points. We're gonna be going through a park section here and using the nitros to do a corner cut to make it just a little bit faster. But honestly, right now, Chatter, would you care to explain some of the version differences with this game and why we're playing on the original Xbox?
Yes, so this game came out on the Xbox, PS2, GameCube, and then eventually as a digital release on the PlayStation 3. It's also backwards compatible on PS3 and Xbox 360. Each of those versions of the game have a bunch of differences which lead to us running on the Xbox version. So things such like the driving speed is the slowest actually on the Xbox version, but because this version loads so much faster and we have consistency with things like our buffers that you saw earlier, Xbox is generally the preferred console for runners.
Yeah.
Something also to note is that every level in this game runs at 60 frames per second, and so if we have something that's like a 1 or 2 frame trick, it'll be 1/60 or 2/60. But on the GameCube version, all driving levels as well as a couple platforming, and is it all sliding or just or guess?
I think it's just guess,
And
yeah.
just one of the sliding levels is at 30 FPS because the game couldn't consistently run at 60 in them.
All right, so right here, we're actually going to turn around. Each driving level has a bunch of checkpoints that aren't visible to the player that we need to hit in order to spawn the end level trigger. And so what we're gonna attempt to do is nitro off of this dirt pile, scoot over the piece of construction equipment, and get out of bounds. Nice.
Nice.
That's a very hard trick,
Yeah.
by the way.
That's really, really tough. So it's smooth sailing here till the end of the level. So JD, we probably got time for one quick message read.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a $25 donation from the hash-slinging slasher that says, "Art thou feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?"
Oh, I am.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we're gonna be coming up on the end of the level here, and we're going into the second major platforming level. We saw one with SpongeBob already, but that was kind of like our intro to how to play the game. This is gonna be the first real proper SpongeBob level, 3,000 Miles to Shell City, AKA 3K, because we're really creative with our level names in this.
Very.
Oh, man.
Banana.
Oh, banana.
Oh,
So,
no.
Yeah, shout out to the DK64 community.
yeah, super neat guys.
Which we're apparently really tight with, but
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
All right, so we routed the tokens that we've been collecting up until this point to unlock the bash right at the start of this level. And the bash has a really cool trick you can do with it called bash boosting. So whenever you take damage from spikes, it's going to try to bounce you back to the last safe position that you were on solid ground. If you hold the Y button to bash out of the hit stun, it will allow you to bash midair, retaining the momentum. And we can use that to do a bunch of corner cuts with SpongeBob. So we're gonna see, that one isn't too bad. This one's a little more dicey because the collision here is funky. Nice. And now we're gonna be doing another skip where there's supposed to be a radio tower we have to destroy. But you can just jump on this slope, and there's like 3 or 4 different spots you can ledge grab just like that, and you completely bypass it. It has been a raging debate in the community whether it's better to go right side, left side. Some people do the bash, which is like the beginner strat. I think Tedious is the only one on here who does left side, but we won't worry about that.
Well, we've been around for so long. That's the only way we did it back
Yeah,
then.
nice bash boost right
forgive
there.
you.
So that's actually a pretty major skip. That's gonna allow us to unlock the bungee challenge to warp to later. We got a 4-frame window trick here. We'll see if we get it. That
Nice.
looks perfect.
That's pretty
That's
good.
very good.
So it doesn't look like that did anything. What happened is that we paused within 4 frames of activating the button, which is going to spawn the token for the bounce challenge without watching the cutscene or actually having to do the challenge. So after we broke that wall, it unlocked the bungee challenge to be able to warp to. And now we're gonna go out of bounds. So there's a little bit of a flashing lights warning here. It's just gonna look really pretty colors for a little bit. They didn't put enough water there. So we can go out of bounds here, and if we jump into the floor, we can infinitely get our jumps back because of the slope jumping glitch. So Sam's gonna do a delayed fall here into double jump spin to land on this rock. We're trying to get to the steamed early token way earlier than we're supposed to be able to. So there's the bash boost number 2. And then we're gonna be looking for a wall clip to get us back in bounds. First try on the wall clip, not out of the woods just yet. We're gonna make use of these rocks that are just away from the spike kick boxes. Do one more slide jump to get up and over this wall, and we got the token. Nicely done.
That's normally a token that would do as Patrick as well, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, the token's literally named Patrick Gets Steamed.
yeah. The nice thing too is that by getting that token, it will unlock that token's like selection in the pause menu, so that we can then warp to it after we do the SpongeBob mission, which saves even more time as well.
It's my favorite part of the movie right here.
Yeah.
So waiting for this platform to come back down, right? So on the topic of these SpongeBob missions, there are a couple of out-of-level missions that we'll be visiting. Earlier, Jaxler mentioned the combat challenges, which we will be not visiting in this run. But one of the types we will be visiting are these SpongeBall challenges. These are isolated kind of tracks where you play as the SpongeBall, which was something in this game's sister game, Battle for Bikini Bottom. But this has a couple of differences. Mainly, our ball is really heavy. It's not very bouncy anymore. And we cannot break free and become SpongeBob. The only way we can do that is by getting
really
the token.
tight cycle skip right here. Nice.
Nice.
So that doesn't look all that crazy, but this is going to allow us to have this last propeller be in the perfect position to get to the end here. And then we have a raw 2-frame window to try to get this token warp right here. We'll see if we get it. Not quite. So
this level, since it's like really small and doesn't have a lot of assets, doesn't have a lot of lag for us to abuse. So trying to go for a buffer there is not super helpful for us.
And when you don't lag buffer, it is a 2-frame window to get a token warp. There's one frame where they're 2 separate frames. One gives you a audio visual, one doesn't. So we'll see if that comes up a bit later. But right here, we're going to unlock the warp for the floating block challenge and then do a bash boost to get us up and out of bounds. We got the ledge grab right there. This is going to allow us to bypass a ambush fight over to our right. You heard the audio start to play for it, but we aren't going to participate. Then all we need to do is hit these 3 buttons, and we've skipped all the radio towers, and that's going to get us to the end of 3K, just like that. Nicely done. So we're actually splitting up a couple of these platforming levels into multiple trips because of kind of how the token warping route works out. We'll talk about that a bit more, but we've got a very difficult trick that's relatively recent within the last year or two called Rub-a-Dub Skip. Sam is going to be actually using the D-pad, which if you know anything about this controller's D-pad should worry you, to do a very precise lineup to try to skip almost this entire level. That looks really good.
That looks nice.
Nice, let's go.
So similar to I'm Ready Depression, Rub-a-Dub spins around in this whole loop, and the beginning is very conveniently near the end. That jump is so precise that while trying to get that trick for over a decade, that, as Jaxler said, has only been discovered in the last year or 2.
Yeah.
You want to talk about upgrades, by the way?
Yeah, so we upgraded the cartwheel right at the end of 3K, and that's going to be really important as we go into Bubble Blowing Baby Hunt. Our kind of upgrade route at the moment is we're trying to make sure that we can upgrade the slam that we'll get in the next level by the time that we get to the first boss. So that cartwheel is going to increase its hitbox size, kind of giving us this like shell that forms around the front of us, as well as some increased damage that'll be really helpful.
John, you want to explain this part?
No, I'm good. What's your guys' favorite SpongeBob episode, though?
Probably Band Geeks.
Shanghai.
I was trying to think about it last
Shanghai
night.
is not your favorite. Get out of
What?
it.
Also, it's crazy that we're doing this bit while Sam is chaining 2-frame window jumps up this slide. So you're not supposed to do this at all. This is supposed to be a one-way exit from the end of the level, but there's a trigger in the middle of that slide. And like I said, you have to do 2-frame window slide jumps in order to get up there.
Yeah, that was very casual. I just did 2-frame jumps.
That's really hard, and we'll explain why that's super important to do in a bit. But just to emphasize how difficult that trick is, despite the nonsense we were just going through, there are 2 separate frames. If you get the earlier of the 2 frames, it eats your double jump. So Sam, while we were making jokes, had to react on the fly to getting either a single or double jump off of every slide jump. Just to give you an idea of how ridiculous that is. We'll be seeing another example of that later on when we get to Shell City Dead Ahead. But we reached our next upgrade point. We're gonna hold off on upgrading it until right before we need it, because the unupgraded version of a couple of our moves actually has less recovery time, meaning that we can get back to cartwheeling a little bit sooner.
Yeah, this game is framed to death, believe it or not.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna be doing some button slamming here, and we're gonna be coming up on our first true 1-frame strat, which is called Disco Skip. This has been a while now, and we mentioned earlier with bash boosting that there is a single frame to be in a grounded state after you take a damage boost from like goo or spikes. For bash, offer them, but Patrick doesn't have the bash, so we need to time a 1-frame window jump here. First try, let's go!
Good job.
You can buffer 1 frames like that, but it loses 0.5 seconds, and it's only cool to do it with no buffer.
Exactly.
He's only saying that because he got it first try.
Exactly.
Definitely.
People have been saying this. We're gonna be hitting. We're hitting a of like stuff like along the way. This is a big reason why we upgraded the cartwheel. It allows us to break some of these explosive barrels without posing too much of a risk to our HP. Although luckily for us, the checkpoints are pretty generous in this level. We're gonna be doing a really cool strat here. This is a pretty long room casually, but we can make use of the trampoline, storing our velocity from gravity to just completely bypass the entire room just like that. That looks like a hard strat. It's actually not that bad. If you were dumb like me in 2015 and you tried to go for the ledge grab, then yes, it's pretty tough.
It's as easy as modding a 3DS.
Exactly. Don't worry about it. So now we're going into BBBH sponge balls. So we're actually going to cartwheel through the wall here and then pause and leave because there is a trigger that unlocks the objective in the menu. So it's just a little faster to warp than to walk over to the platform.
Sam, are you going for fast cycle?
I'll try it.
So in this level, there's a very, very tight window to get a super fast cycle in this level. I'll stop talking and see Sam do it.
If he makes like a single bonker mistake, he's probably just going to bail and do the backups, or not the backup cycle, the normal people cycle. Let's call it that. All right, this is the hard part. Needs to slow down just a little bit. Oh, good try. Yeah, the reason that's so hard is you actually have to, if you go in with full speed, you will just beef it.
Yeah.
So, unfortunate a little bit, but it's all good. We're here for the vibes. So, JD, this would be a good time for like maybe 2 donations.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have so much love coming in from this. And I like the suggestion in the couch saying, what's your favorite SpongeBob episode? Would love to see that in donation comments as well. But before then, we got a $43 donation from Skywise that says, movie. Good luck, Sam. Thank you so much for that generous donation. We also have a $25 donation from Lilo Rory that says, 1 ticket to the hoedown in Hoenn, please. Let's ride. I actually want to repeat my idea from earlier. At 25 minutes, let's do a $25 donation train ticket price to get the Visit the Seamawville Lesbians incentive, which is over $14,000 of the way to the $40,000 goal. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this marathon definitely needs more lesbians, so please get your donations in.
For sure.
Oh my God.
That was nice.
Nice. That is the second of the 2 frames. So if you get the later frame, you get that audio-visual cue. And we're going into rub-a-dub skip again, so we're backtracking a little bit.
So something to explain about our driving as well as our sliding levels. So Sam's falling off, so he's just going back to reset the jumps.
I fell off.
Each of our platforming levels typically have 6 tokens for us to get, 3 within the level, 3 out of level. But our driving and sliding levels will have 4 tokens. Our main kind of challenge that we need, that looks nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Getting both first try is crazy in a marathon.
We did a race yesterday, and I got it like 10th try.
So we have our main challenge as well as a time challenge, a challenge where we have to go through rings, and a macho time challenge. For this run, we're just gonna be doing our main challenge and the time challenges that we need to do, because although doing macho time here in isolation is fast, we would have to do the ring challenge to be able to do the macho time challenge.
Yeah, so we're gonna be going ahead and doing this level right here, as well as we're gonna be making back our way back to sandwich driving for SD102. Shout outs to me when I missed the second to last ring in SD102. One of the
Infamous for that.
Infamous,
And I made a lot of fun of you for it.
Yeah, deservedly so. Don't clap for that.
Yeah, clap for that.
Amen.
This is what I get for being an old head. Anywho, we are going to see an attempt at the out of bounds trick one more time as we're going through here. But JD, I'd love to hear some more favorite SpongeBob episodes from people if you've got any.
Would love to. We got a lot of SpongeBob references here, including $25 from WubbaDubs Man, who is hopping onto that donation train that says, "Is this GDQ? No, this is Patrick." Love this game. Have loved watching GDQ for close to a decade now. And special shout out to Jaxler on the couch for being one of my longtime comfort streamers, less than 3.
Thank you.
He's my comfort
Let's go,
character.
Mr. GDQ.
Do not call me that.
We got $25 too from AZ Air Dashers community that says, "Hey, who's this Sam guy? He's kind of wild at SpongeBob. Good luck on your run.
He is
know
so
that
locked
everyone
out.
back home is cheering for you, even though you're a Viking player."
Shout outs to my Guild Gear players back home.
If
Yeah.
we got time for another. Or sorry.
Another?
Yeah, go for it.
We got $5 from Anarchy that says, I know Jaxler has wanted this game to get in for so long, and I'm very glad we get to watch it now. Hi from Anarchy and Laszlo on the back couch. Shout out When the Two Meet podcast. Good luck, BubbleBass, and dude, yes.
Thank you, JD. I just want to shout out those two because they literally trained JD on how to do the so, those are my goats for real, for real. So we're going to take just a quick second for some focus time here. We're going to be going for the out of bounds again. Again, the geometry on this like piece of dirt is really whack. It's like, you have got to be kidding me.
Dude,
oh my God.
legend.
Woo. He can't keep getting away with this, y'all.
can't.
It's not fair. Worth noting as well is that we're driving around that circle in the center because there's supposed to be an animation that plays that pulls the dirt out from the earth. But because of that, there's never a loaded piece of geometry for it, so you would just fall through if you attempted to do that. So if you do that out of bounds, maybe don't do that.
I've had a run before that out of bounds happened where the animation just never happened, and I was like, oh, I could just drive straight here.
Nope.
Straight down.
Absolutely torched. So the big reason why we're doing all this backtracking now is kind of for two reasons. The big one is that we need to hit 20 Goofy Goober tokens by the time that we get to the level now that we're men. And so by doing this backtracking now, it sets us up to make that milestone just in the natural level progression. We also want to get these levels done now as opposed to later because of the way that the manliness points scaling works. So the further the level progress you are into the game, it'll give you a point reduction on things that you get for breaking objects and stuff like that. So right here, we're gonna see something called the dive glitch. This is present in both this game and Battle for Bikini Bottom, where if you kind of bonk your head against the target there or get stuck underneath one, you can dive infinitely. And we're gonna attempt to see a token warp here.
That looks good.
So you saw that little flash of light there? And so that's a big reason why we split this level up into is because we want to make use of this token warping wherever possible. In our first pass through of this level, even though we could token warp off of them, we wouldn't have anywhere productive to token warp to. So now that we've had more areas unlocked, it becomes much more reasonable to do these now. And this is floating block. This is one of my favorite sections to do in the entire game because it is all cartwheeling movement. We're gonna note the fact that you can cartwheel off ledges and retain both of your jumps, which allows for a lot of like freedom of expression in Patrick's movement, which is not a sentence you would expect to hear from anyone literally ever, but trust me. And I'm not just saying that because I'm good at this like one level and that's it. But
We studied so much tape trying to figure out how is he doing it. It made no sense.
that's like the one thing that I have on the rest of the field in this game.
Your 3K floating block.
3K floating block and invisible crate circ.
Oh yeah.
So something I want to note here is that we're saving this level very, very much at the end because Sam is going to set up a buffer to get this token. It's a lot faster for us. Nice.
Nice.
To get this token later because with our SpongeBall levels, when we missed the one frame, hey, we were completely fine to just pause and warp. In those levels, when we get that token, movement's locked completely out of us. By the way, this token's here because earlier when we started that ambush and fought those enemies, well, after we fought those enemies, we spawned this token, but then decided, hey, we want to get tokens from this level anyway. So we went forward and saved that for later.
Yeah. So we're at 17 Goofy Goober tokens right now, which means that by the time that we get to Now That We're Men, we will have the 20 that we need here. So we're going to be making sure to grab some more manliness points on the way. The manliness point route still matters pretty heavily. The big workaround is we want to make sure that we can upgrade throw for Patrick about roughly halfway into Shell City Dead Ahead. If we need to delay it, we can, but the earlier we can have it, the better. It makes our lives easier. Chatter, you want to talk about how this level works?
Yeah, so this level, we're going to be collecting 5 keys to kind of escape the Thug Tug parking lot. This is a little strat called Conquer 2 Key, where we, instead of taking our long, normal path to get a key, we take a shortcut and then have to go turn around to grab a key. There's going to be 5 keys total, and typically we need to take at least 2 laps. In the route that we do currently, we still need to take 2 laps to drop down this bridge so that we can actually get our 5th key. Though, Jaxler is going to explain how theoretically we can skip that, but it's not quite there.
Yeah, it's not quite there, unfortunately. Which it's cool as heck, but so it is possible by going out of bounds. We're actually going to, on the second lap, pass by the entry point for the out of bounds. So you see that big ship over there in the distance? That's like the Thug Tug itself. You can get out of bounds, drive all the way to the top of the Thug Tug, which has collision for some reason, You can nitro off the top and then fall towards like where the 5th key is. We'll see the 5th key kind of just chilling on a ledge.
It'll be right up here.
It'll be coming up right up here.
So you see it chilling up there with no aura around it.
The way you get that key in lap 1 is you boost off the Thug Tug and then just try to bounce off the ground with all the the gravity velocity that you get and just pray that you reach the key. It has been done before on console. It's not fast, unfortunately. So right over here would be like the out of bounds entry point. And there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with the out of bounds in this level, but it's not really useful because like we mentioned earlier, there's a bunch of these invisible checkpoint triggers that the game is looking for to make sure that we're actually playing the level quasi as intended. Although we're not, at least for this, like when you play this level after the first token, you kind of just go around in 3 laps like any other driving level. But for this specific instance, because it's gated around 5 keys, we can do some cool stuff here.
Something really funny we're going to do here is once we get the 5th keys, that gate is going to open. And so we are intended to drive around that whole extra section at the top and take a whole new lap. However, since we are on Xbox and our loads are much faster than driving or turning around and going back, we're just going to reload the whole level to get back to that gate.
And this is the make or break of the speedrun right here.
Yeah,
make or the break.
We need to lock
speedrun,
in here,
boys.
everybody. We need to lock in here. Very, very important.
Nice.
That was made by Manix05 right there.
Want to?
Oh, banana.
Banana.
Can I sneak in with an intense moment as well?
Yeah, actually, hold on. We've got a boss fight coming up here, so we'll give you a sec after the boss fight. So right now, we are upgrading our Smash. We have been making sure to get our upgrades for this boss fight in particular. We're going to start this first phase by baiting the boss over to the edge so that we can hit it with the cartwheel. Because it's a lingering hitbox, we can hit it on the first vulnerable frame. And so we're going to be doing that one more time. And then in the second phase, the tongue is a grandma. And it will burrow out of the ground for us to attack. And so what we're gonna make use of is the shockwave stun that comes with the upgraded slam. Sam is gonna hit the tongue in a very specific way so that we do damage and then it gets stunned before it goes back down to the ground so that we get a double hit. So we're gonna slam here again, and as soon as we see the dust particles, the boss is ready to be damaged.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow,
Okay, we
you
avoided
dodged
the
it.
goop there too. That's really good.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll explain that in a second. But we've got one more thing coming up before we'll throw back to you, JD. We're going into Rock Slide here, and there's going to be a trick that we're going to go for right at the start of the level. You kind of have a blind jump that you need to go for because there's kind of like a slow fade in from black here. We're going to focus for just a second. Nice. All right, so this gets us out of bounds, and we're just going to look like that one scene in Titanic, where we're just going to float out of bounds here, and this will save roughly 9 seconds,
That's
4
4
seconds if you're
That's
Sam.
4 seconds.
But we're just going to be chilling here for a bit. So JD, the floor is yours for maybe 2 or 3.
Thank you so much. Related to this, we have a $10 donation from Spongebob Run Pants that says, Mr. Krabs, I have an idea. Clip out of bounds. We also have just had that $25 donation train for the Visit Sea Marvel Lesbians just depart the station. Included in that train is a $25 donation from Futon that says, shout out to my girlfriend who loves to make SpongeBob references at every opportunity she can.
That's what we like to call a keeper.
That's what I was
We also have a $10 donation from Kylito that says, F is for friends who donate together, U is for you and me, N is for no more cancer here in the deep blue sea.
That was awesome. So we just skipped a kill plane. They just didn't make the kill plane big enough there, so you can just scoot out to the side and weave around, and you're good to go. Rock Slide has a ton of cool skips like that, and depending on how ridiculous you are at the game, your strats may vary a little bit. So we're going to be going for most of the hype stuff here. So we're going to be potentially seeing a really cool boost here. We're going to go for it with a buffer, but it's still a very frame precise trick. Dart.
I missed the lag buffer.
Yeah. So you can do a 1 frame window jump off of that slope right there in order to boost past that and not get the slowdown. But we still skipped another kill plane anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. So just letting you all know right now, we do have a bit of a jump scare warning coming up.
Yeah.
Lock in.
Close your eyes if you're squeamish.
Yeah. Not that one. That one's not that scary. That's not the true jump scare. We're also going to be breaking a bunch more of these explosive barrels as well, again, for our manliness point route. And then after this will come the jump scare. So you have been warned. Here it comes.
So something really interesting about that, for whatever reason, I guess that monster was way too scary for, I think it's the German localizations of this game, where they completely changed what monster is there.
Oh, that's right.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's weird.
So there's going to be one more skip that we're going to do in this level here. We're going to do another kind of jump over where they did not put a kill plane. There's actually a harder version that you can do of it that also does that like 1 frame like boost off of a slope. But if you miss it doing that way, you're kind of doomed. So this doesn't save like that much time because of like how the other version got like rerouted, but we're going to just careen off of here, do a delayed jump. That's going to curve us over this way. We'll get the slow down and we'll land at the end there. So that was pretty much a flawless rock bottom.
That was super good.
Or not rock bottom. I play too much. I play too much Truth or Square. But don't worry about it. Deep cut. But now we're going into the mid-game gauntlet. So if you already thought this run was hard, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
This is definitely the most flashy level of the run we're about to hit.
Oh, yeah.
For men.
Oh,
it's like the defining level of the run.
Also, just got to shout out the 1 frame that you hit there right as you hit the end level trigger.
Swag trap.
Just for swag. We'll see that come up a bit later, hopefully. But now we're going into Now That We're Men. This is why we wanted 20 Goofy Goober tokens, because this unlocks the Sponge Bowl, which is arguably the most broken move in the game when upgraded.
Easily.
Yeah, easily.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and upgrade it right now. This is going to give us a like area of effect explosion whenever we detonate the Sponge Bowl, which is just an awesome phrase to say. So I'm going to make every excuse I can to say it. We're going to do a bit of a cutscene skip here where we're going to hit this switch and then jump to this platform early to skip an enemy intro cutscene. Chatter, do you want to take over here?
Whoa, do I? Yeah. So, so after we skip that cutscene, we're going to jump on this sign to kind of skip a couple of wall jumps going through. We're going to start progressing through the first part of this level. This is going to be for the next 3 platforming levels that we have. The levels, I guess, were too big to kind of run as one whole level like we've been seeing, so they're going to be split into 2 separate sections. So here, Sam's going to do a double jump spin to skip having to use the bowl to knock down that little central pillar. And we're going to head into the stomach of this monster. This part of the run is going to have a lot of bash boots that we abuse. There's going to be a lot of token framing that we do. And so jumping out of that slide, Sam's immediately going to, again, skip using this bubble bowl by jumping onto this weird little structure on the side of the monster's mouth. And he's going to bowl that poor, innocent-looking monster sitting there in the goop. So after bowling this, he's going to run over to the bungee to get the warp. Like earlier with the 3K bungee, we don't want to do this right now because we want somewhere useful to warp after 1 framing the token. So we're going to save that much for later. Coming up here, we're also going to be doing a bash boost to get over a pit after Sam bowls this fun little button.
There we go, and then here comes the bash boost. You can also angle the bash boost in such a way where you hit the bottom of one of the wall jump platforms that can help you make the distance a little more consistently, but Sam's going for the slightly riskier angle just to go a little bit faster here. And then we're also going to try to deal with this enemy. This is like the casual killer right here, is dealing with those platforms and that enemy. It kind of messes with speedrunners a lot too.
I was gonna say it's the speedrun.
Why'd you look at me?
Not just the casual.
Yeah, John.
I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. So we tried to initiate a ledge grab right there because whenever we're ledge grabbing, the game thinks we're in a busy state, so it won't warp us at the end of certain cutscenes. But now we are going into the back half of Now That We're Men, which is like a gauntlet of 3 to 4 really difficult tricks, kind of back to back to back.
There's so much here.
There's a lot going on here. So
John, you want to take this part?
We're gonna.
That's a bad idea.
Okay.
All right, then I'll take it. So I'm going to ask that everyone holds their applause until after we get floating block skip, which I'll explain once we get there. We're going to start by jumping off of this door right here and then using a very precise lineup in order to jump off that trampoline and skip the entire puzzle. Next, we're going to do what's called a double bash boost, where for some reason, when you damage boost after a bash boost, it retains the speed. This is also known as Chris skip. For those,
the monster's
the monster's name.
The monster's name is not Chris.
The monster's name is Chris.
No, it's not.
So we get the double bash boost there. Nice. That's going to. Oh, that was really close, but we clutched it. Not out of the woods yet. That's 2 of the 4 hard stuff. Now we're going to do something called monster skip, where it's going to be similar in that it is a double bash boost, but they're going to be staggered a little bit, and we're going to be looking to land on like the corner of this monster's eyelash. So Sam's using a very specific visual cue, gets the jump, gets the bash boost. Nice. And so this not only gets us this token with SpongeBob, but it also skips a long monster ride as well as a huge like auto-scroller combat encounter. And now coming up, one of the most difficult strats in the entire game. This is another true one frame called floating block skip, which if done perfectly saves a really good amount of time, but it's really difficult. We need a lot of height here. So we're gonna ask for quiet from the crowd here.
Yeah, no pressure.
You got this, dude. Okay, so you did save it though, so we get another shot. Unfortunate.
No worries.
Fish pace.
Longest at that
Oh,
in
it's
the game.
unfortunate.
Yeah. So yeah, we basically have to damage boost off the spike as the block is rotating upward. It's really finicky, and then you also have to hit the one frame after. So it's pretty tough. Good save. Let's see if we get this here.
Nice.
Nice.
And the token frame. That's
And the
beautiful.
token warp to boot, yeah. I feel, I think this happened to me. I don't remember who this, it might have been me, but I remember seeing someone get that strat and then missing the token warp.
It happens all the
I think I
time.
remember somebody like getting it and then not even grabbing the token. Like they just warped it away.
That's sick. So this is the only bungee challenge in the game where you can break the targets from underneath. I don't know why, but you can.
I wish they were all like that.
Oh,
Yeah, it would be so sick. So unfortunately, we missed the token warp there. So ooh. But yeah, now we're going to be coming over to the end of the level here. We're going to be turning around, and the end level token's going to be right there. This is going to get us to 25 Goofy Goober tokens, which will get us the throw upgrade as soon as we get into the next level here. So we're coming up on what is my favorite level to run through as a runner, which is Shell City Dead Ahead. This is the last main Patrick platforming level in the game, and the movement cooks. There's so many crazy skips in this level, and it's also just a really good test of like your movement fundamentals.
So immediately you'll realize entering this level is that the music in this level is great.
No,
This track is awesome. Don't listen to Tedious.
I don't like
We're gonna unlock the throw ability, and as you see, the throw takes a lot of time to do for the animation, so we're gonna try to skip as much as possible. This skip here, we're going to go around this toilet and do blump jump to kind of skip having to lower that toilet lid and go across it. At this point, we're also going to be cartwheeling around this really weirdly small wall to skip another throw. So picking up this melon is just so long to do. So any opportunity we can avoid throwing, we avoid throwing. Coming up here, we're going to be getting to a challenge, Cirque du Malaise. And so at this challenge, we're expected to go around this super long section as Patrick, where you swing across ice blocks. It's a really neat part of the challenge, but for some reason, they really put the exit so close to the entrance. So by spin, cartwheeling, and double jumping, we're going to be able to, since we keep our first jump right over to the token.
All right, and so right here, we're actually going to go ahead and take an intentional death here. This is going to cause the enemies to despawn, which is what we want. So the enemies, there's going to be a bit of a flash right there, and then this enemy's going to spawn in. We're going to damage boost off the ledge to store momentum into the ice blocks. So we saw earlier in Bubble Blowing Baby Hunt that it stores our momentum into ice blocks. So we can use that to get up and out of bounds. There's a really long and annoying like throwing fruit section, and we just skipped that completely. That was really nice. And we got the ledge grabless version there too, which is kind of finicky to get sometimes.
We're gonna come all the way over here to grab this checkpoint just so we can come back later, and we're going to backtrack a bit in the level to grab the Spongebob warp. So since typically after we get over here, we're coming from the left to come to this area, there's just a giant trigger to give us the warp for the Spongeball. So we're gonna cartwheel in a random place to the left and die so that we're back here and we can go to that Spongebob level later, which will be super important.
Big ledge grab skip right there, and we're just gonna toss this TV. As long as you get there quickly enough and pick it up, you can just avoid all of the enemies there. And now we're going into 3-meter island skip. This is also a pretty notorious run killer. There's two ways you can do it. You can either do it away with what's called the invisible crate glitch, which I don't believe Sam will be going for, or you can do it the traditional way, which is we pick up this metal crate, and you have to be very careful not to accidentally go back through the door you came through. We walk until we see that hand icon disappear so that we can toss it right there, and we get a ledge grab. And now we're going to chain 2 frame window jumps to get all the way up the slide. Again, on the earlier of the 2 frames, you lose your double jump, so you just get a single jump. And anytime you see Patrick start to turn around, that's the slide trying to pull you back.
So these jumps are definitely seen as harder than the jumps we did earlier in Bubble Bowling Baby Hunt because this is a completely straight slide and there's not a lot of area to save yourself. Where with the other one, when we missed a jump, it was curved around. We could save ourselves. Nice stuff.
Yeah, the terrain on that slope, it's a lot more sloped, so it's a lot more janky.
All right, and so now we're gonna be doing a TV skip here. So we're gonna go ahead and jump here. Are we gonna, I was really hoping you were gonna like face tank the goo enemy there. That would've been really funny. But we're gonna do another spin into cartwheel right here, which is hopefully going to get us up and over. Nice, we got the ledge grab skip. We're also going to, on the way, get the floating block warp here. We're gonna upgrade throw. And you also saw that we got a ledge grab. This is just gonna let us clip through this pipe and skip having to break a TV that opens up that wall right there. And so right here, we're going to skip grabbing a fruit and throwing it, which also skips these enemies by just jumping here and then using the button hitbox just to get up and over here. And depending on how quickly we get over here, the Merv enemies next to all these buttons will be in a different phase of alignment. And so we're trying to snipe these from a distance so we don't have to worry about the enemy ambush at the end here. So I think that Merv's in a good enough position.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, yeah.
You got the hard one.
Yeah.
That was put the needle there.
And so there's one more thing we got to worry about at the end of the level here. We just need to make sure that one of those spitter enemies does not hit us on the way out here for something called Ice Physics Glitch. And that's the end of SCDA. That was almost flawless, dude. Nicely done.
That was super good.
All right, so now we're coming into my favorite boss fight in the run, which is Dennis. So the way that Dennis works is that we throw the throw fruit at Dennis to deal damage to him. But an interesting property of his iframes is that his invulnerability window resets when he goes from an airborne state to a grounded state. So we're gonna toss 2 watermelons here and then throw this third one at a very specific timing. You're gonna see him go all the way down to 1/3 HP. Bye-bye.
Nice. Very clean.
Also, you can one-frame these tokens, but I just missed it there.
Yeah, and so now we're going to go ahead and warp back to SCDA here. Again, we needed a better place to token warp to, so now we're gonna go take care of this Spongebob challenge, as well as the floating block, and also we got the frame 1 bowl, because Sam is a troll. So now we're gonna be listening to this beautiful sound while we're making our way through here. So there's not anything really specific other than clean movement through here, so JD, this would be a great time for maybe like 3 or 4, I'd say.
Sounds good. I have a $1,000 donation from Mick and Janet Fiore. No comment, but thank you for that generous donation to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. And we have $25 from Calicia that says, hi from France, less than 3. Thank you so much for hopping on to that lesbians donation train earlier. And why not just one French person, but the whole French restream? $980 from them saying, hello, thanks to all the people who participated directly or indirectly in this event, less than 3. Good luck with the end of the marathon. And with those generous contributions and those from so many others, we are over $16,000 of the way through the $40,000 goal for the Pokemon Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Visit the Sea Marvel Lesbians incentive.
All right, Chatter, do you want to talk about Ice Physics Glitch?
Yeah, sure. So we all got really, really nervous earlier when Sam almost got hit by that kind of goo at the end of different levels, because if we got hit by this goo, we wouldn't get what's called the Ice Physics Glitch. What this is we are on these kind of ice blocks right now. But we have no ice physics because we've never been on kind of a slippery surface since we started the console. So since we haven't touched the slippery surface, we get to move at kind of a normal speed. If we start cartwheeling, you'll see that we're just walking across those platforms. We don't cartwheel because that would then make us slippery again. Something really interesting to note about this level is that it introduces these slippery blocks. And when making these blocks, the developers kind of switched around the textures. So these slippery blocks, if you look at the bottom part, actually have a texture of like bubbles if they weren't transparent. And those bubble blocks you may have seen, those ones that shrink, are supposed to be bubbles that like pop when they disappear. Those were accidentally given the ice texture. And you would never notice while playing, which the devs didn't either, so it never got fixed.
Yeah, so this level, like, there's not anything super flashy going on unless you want to go for like the task strat where you damage boost off of a bubble spin.
Yeah, go for it.
No, don't do that.
I'll pass, actually. Good.
He hits these.
I'd like to make guesstimate. But no, you're doing great though. But this level is like, if you've played this game before, you know how ridiculously hard the platforming in this level is. And the checkpoints are pretty brutal here. We're gonna go for one last cartwheel token warp here in a floating block. Perfect.
That looks good.
And now we're gonna do one more quick backtrack. We picked up another warp along the way to the Throwing Fruit Electric. There's gonna be a couple of cycles that we need to worry about at the very end of this section, but JD, we've probably got room for another donation here.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a $10 donation from Pepperpot that says, born too late to explore Earth, born too early to explore the galaxy, but born just in time to see movie at GDQ. Good luck, Sam. Shoutouts to the modding community and Purple Foundation.
Shout out to
Pepper.
Pepperpot, super cool person.
That's my go.
Literally. Ooh. So if you time a jump while that's rising up, the game will have a bit of a heavy iron moment and just clip you through the platform, which would force us to have to reload. We have no way of getting out.
Yeah, and then we're gonna be hitting this. All right, we're gonna be trying to hit another token warp.
The slide works
Looking real
properly.
good.
That looks good.
That looks clean.
And now we're heading into Sunday here. So
John, you want to explain the kind of premise of this level?
You drive from point A to point B.
Okay, word.
that's a good way of putting it.
He's
That's
not
what you
wrong.
do.
Don't clap for that.
Clap it up, guys. Clap it up.
Guys, I tried really hard on that explanation.
I know you did. I know you did. So this level, we'll have a bunch more going on in the second and third laps. So we're going through lap one, actually. JD, we can throw it back to you for a little bit.
Well, speaking of driving, we have a $25 donation from Beryl Morgan that says, woo, woo, this is the Lesbian Traffic Authority. I'm writing you all a ticket for aiding and abetting SpongeBob's driving without a license. Please make your fine payments payable to the office of the Lesbian Traffic Authorities, located in C. Mawville. Oh my goodness, that's right. If you missed that donation train earlier, everybody, let's get those fines donated in for us to visit the C. Mawville lesbians, which is at $16,746, just over 40% of the way through to our $40,000 goal, where we'll just, pick up some keys and say hi to a couple of gal pals during Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire.
All right, probably got time for one more here.
Yeah, absolutely. We got $25 from Top Hat Matt that says movie.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that we finally get to see this game in the spotlight on the GDQ stage, and even happier that we didn't have to spend 2 minutes trying to hit Disco Skin. Good luck to BB and the Couch on the Run, because we're all gonna need all hands on deck to stop. Oh no, don't put that bucket on me. All hail Plankton. All hail Plankton. All hail Plankton.
Oh my goodness. So Chatter, do you want to explain how some of the stuff works in this level?
Yeah, so this level, if you didn't get it from John's explanation, has us drive around following. So we're going to be being brought to Shell City right now. So you guys definitely remember this scene from the movie where SpongeBob and Patrick were passed out and had to escape their dream following the Goofy Goober and their sandwich, right? So
Yeah, totally.
Totally. So we're following Goofy Goober around for 3 laps to then eventually leave this area. What we want to do at a certain point is go far enough ahead where we're no longer tied to being stuck around Goofy Goober, which we need to get to the second lap to be able to do. So at this point, you're going to see Sam take a shortcut on the right that he did not take the first time, and he's going to be taking this to try to outrun Goofy Goober so that we're not tied to his speed anymore, and we can take a faster path that we want to take. Coming up, Sam's also going to be nitroing at the wall at a very specific angle to get a nice bounce over called Spiral Skip. Let's see if he gets it. Nice. Super clean.
That's really scary too, because you can just fall into the pit and die.
I think you can also just soft lock. That,
Yeah.
If you're wrong,
so
you just-
scary.
We'll see it again. It's a trick so nice, you get to do it twice.
Exactly. So
now we're not tied down to the Goofy Goober, finally. It took this long.
It took us
And
this
so
long.
now we get to go whatever fastest route we want to go. So we're just going to keep on driving. The only thing I think we're getting to in this level is we're going to be doing that spiral skip again, but now if you'd throw in a donation, 2 or 3, that would be a great time.
yeah.
Fantastic. We have a $5 donation from Crow3893 that says, hey y'all, really happy to see this game on the main stage of GDQ. Been speedrunning many SpongeBob games and had so much fun running all of them, and this one has no doubt been a fun one. Best of luck, Sam. You're going to beat this game faster than the actual movie length.
That is actually true.
Shout out to Jaxler, Tedious, and Chatter. You 3 are going to crush it with the commentary. And let's go bingo!
Let's go, bingo.
Let's go bingo.
So we have room for one
2 for
more.
2.
But
Yeah,
before
nice.
that, I just want to say shout out to the overarching SpongeBob speedrunning community. They're just a bunch of super cool people. It's a lot of smaller niche communities that usually get umbrellaed by the bigger communities, but they're all filled with super nice and knowledgeable people.
Yeah. Absolutely freaking lootly.
Except for Event of the Flying Dutchman. We don't.
Yeah, we don't talk about that
Yeah,
one.
screw those guys.
That game is peak.
Can I sneak in that
No,
one more?
Yeah, go for it. One
We
more.
have a $100 donation from No Dana, Only Zool, that says, my 7 and 10-year-old sons love watching GDQ and are wild SpongeBob fans, so they insisted that we donate during the SpongeBob movie run. They're both also excited to contribute our annual family donation for the first time using their own hard-earned Tooth Fairy money. Thanks, GDQ, for helping this amazing cause.
Thanks, guys.
Aw, thank you all.
All right, so now we're in what I consider to be one of the worst names in video game history for a level, Googly Eyes and Smelly Knickknacks, AKA Gesk. And so this first part of the level, we're actually going to be doing a bit of a newer route where we need to hit 3 faucets in order to activate the way to get to the next area. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop on this portion of the track to activate a checkpoint. We're gonna hit this faucet, then do a big corner cut to get to this third one, and then jump into the water here, which is gonna warp us back to the end of this section here. And we also need to jump right there in order to make sure that we avoid just like a cutscene that plays afterwards. And we'll see that kind of a jump again, a similar time.
And for those watching, yes, SpongeBob and Patrick did just drown in the water that they usually live in.
Yes. It's lore. It's
Trust me,
lore
makes
accurate.
sense, I promise.
It definitely does. So this level actually has kind of had like a bunch of new routing stuff in the last couple of years as well. Traditionally we used to do orange and yellow, then red and blue. But this time we're actually going to do blue and red first. So we're going to do the blue. So there's 4 different targets that we need to hit, each on a different colored wire. And we're going to start with this one. We'll see if we get the swag extra. Nice. That's really annoying to do in the all extras run. I just want to put that out there. Anywho, so we're going to get those 2 right there, and we're going to try really hard to avoid this Krabby Patty. It has a huge detection radius. We want to be at 1 HP because we're going to take another Death Warp, and it's really slow if you have 2 HP. So we're going to make our way through the yellow wire here, and you're going to see a really dodgy looking jump. We're going to hit this target and then go from the yellow wire to the orange wire with a coyote time jump. Nice. We're going to then go ahead and hit this last target, zap ourselves, and then that's going to warp us back to the start of the red wire, which we can then jump again to skip a cutscene, and that's going to take us back to all those lamps we just knocked down, getting us to the end of the level here. So yeah, we're big chilling here. We're going to be seeing another boss fight in just one moment here. I'm going to set this up right now just because we won't have time to, because it's going to go by really fast. So we're going to see Dennis again, but this time it's SpongeBob on the back of David Hasselhoff instead of Patrick in the middle of wherever Shell City Dead Ahead is. And so on Big Hoff, it works in a similar way where we can damage him multiple times, once when he's midair and once when he's on the ground. So we're gonna make use of the upgraded Bull's absolutely disgustingly large hitbox in order to just like hit him, and we're making sure to stand in very specific positions as well to make sure that he doesn't go onto the back of David Hasselhoff's triceps, which I would understand why he'd wanna be there because those are big triceps, but it's like not where we wanna be for the speed run, right? So we get 1 shot right there. We're purposely waiting on the second one, so it's gonna explode and hit him twice. 1 more hit, and bye-bye.
Clean.
Perfect Dennis 2 fight. Oh, and we got the token
nice.
warp.
1 frame.
That is a
So,
true 1 frame,
For
yeah.
the Dennis 1 and 2 tokens, although I said, hey, you can't token warp the final token, those 2 tokens are big exceptions to that rule. So Sam's now going to go for a trick where, since this level kind of goes in a loop, he's going to try to do 1 frame jumps backwards up this wire on the side. So I'm going to give him silence. Please give him silence to hit these jumps.
I'll just...
We're gonna bail here.
Yeah.
So he managed to get the hard part, which is getting onto that cable right there and starting the chain. But on slide levels, instead of being a 2 frame window to like reset the slide momentum, it's a pure 1 frame window. So it's really tough. If you get it perfectly, it saves like 15 seconds. But if you fall off, you just go ahead and do the level as normal. So there's not going to be too much going on here other than a death warp. So JD, you've got room for maybe 1 or 2 donations here.
Sounds good. We got a couple of folks pitching in for the Visit the Sea Marvel Lesbians incentive, which is now over $17,000 of the $40,000 goal. We got a $25 donation from one of our generous viewers that says, I here donate for lesbians, and I donate for lesbians. We also have a $100 donation from Vrumps that says, let's go lesbians. We have a $50 donation from Eva that says, paying my traffic ticket to the lesbians. And a $25 donation from Mayonnaise that says, is lesbians an instrument? Thank you all so much for your generous donations, everybody.
I really don't want to think about the implications of that donation.
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that too. Well, you have a $25 donation from Chris, who we saw earlier, right? Chris?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Just
Chris?
says movie.
Movie. All right, so now we're going to be going into playing topless. So normally we're supposed to have 40 Goofy Goober tokens to unlock the Sonic Wave guitar. You're going to notice we have 36, so we're actually a couple short. So what we're going to do is some out-of-bounds buffoonery in order to access parts of playing topless before getting access to the Sonic Wave guitar. So that way we can use tokens from playing topless to count towards that 40 that we need. And so we're gonna start by doing a bash into the bottom of a button here in order to basically put us back into a state where we can do 2 double jumps that will let us get kind of up and over these spikes. We get a slope jump right there and we're good to go. And then he's gonna be setting up for a very specific bash boost right here off of these spikes. This is mostly to despawn an enemy called a Merv that makes this next part really annoying. So we're gonna be doing the bungee challenge here in a very specific way. We get stuck underneath the target here in order to activate the infinite dive glitch. And then if we do this cycle perfectly, it'll line up so that we can get the last couple of targets all in one dive, and it's gonna look really sick. Nice. That's really hard.
It's super hard.
And it does not stop there. Right after we get this token, we're gonna use this cardboard box and a slope jump right here to just get out of bounds. They just didn't put enough wall there. And we're going to wedge ourselves between this object and this spike, clipping us back inbounds. Nice, second try's pretty good. And now we're gonna swap back over to Patrick because there's 2 tokens that we need to get here. One is Ice Skating Idiot and the other is actually a combat challenge. We might have lied to you earlier. There will be 1 combat challenge we're doing.
I forgot about
It is
that
the
one.
hardest combat.
Yeah.
challenge.
It's real, yeah.
It's rough.
It's fast, but it's really rough. So we're gonna do kind of a clip strat where we walk at a funky angle at that in order to allow us to walk off without having to throw it a second time. We're gonna go over here to get this trigger to be able to warp to that combat challenge, and then we're gonna be going for 1 last cartwheel token warp here.
That's good. That's good.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask us to have kind of complete silence till we finish.
Yeah, this is really
a
tough.
super precise part of the run.
We got
Nice,
it. Nice.
So something actually dangerous about this level is you might have seen Sam jump and slam after the UN was fading out. In that moment, you can actually input a cartwheel, which will put you a bit forward. If you do that, it will spawn the token where you are standing before the cartwheel, and since you have no control of your character, you just soft lock.
All right, and so right here, we're gonna do a huge sequence break. You can just grab this wall and clip out of bounds. Anyone can do that at home. This part is a bit trickier though. What we're gonna do is cartwheel in and around a lava plane in order to find a floor to jump our head into, similar to what we did when we did Steamed early. So this challenge, More Bounce Please, is always loaded underneath the map, including the Goofy Goober token. So by doing these like delayed cartwheel jumps into the ceiling, we can quickly make our way over to this token, which gets us to 40. And this also unlocks this challenge in the warp select menu. So by doing that, we can get the token and then later warp here, which is gonna cut a ridiculously big part of the level.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
You are also going to notice when Sam gets this the guitar power, which he just got from Mindy, he's going to throw an upgraded bowl and detonate it. Write this down in your notepad because we're going to need to talk about that later.
Yeah, it might seem really like random, mission critical for the run.
They'll be on the test later.
Yeah, trust. And so right here, we're going to do a bash boost here that I hate so much, but it's just it's like a 1 second time saver. And now we're coming up on maybe my favorite single trick in the run, which is called GGC or Guitar Glide Clip. So this makes use of lag clipping as well as something called the Guitar Glide Glitch, where when you make contact with a wall jump platform, if you press the guitar button, you'll just start like gliding and slow falling mid-air, and it's really funky. If you combine that with a lag clip, you can clip through a wall while having access to this glitch. So we clip through that wall right there with the GGC, and we're gonna do a very specific setup so that we hit this side wall that's also a wall jump platform. It's gonna look really ridiculous here for a second. So we actually do that at a specific wall so that it shoots us out to the right, because we need every little bit of speed that we can get because we are fighting our slow descent. And we're looking for a slope jump to regain our jumps back. And we're skipping you can see all of this part of the level that we're skipping.
It's so much to skip.
It's super long. And so what we're looking for is there's kind of this like strip of geometry that's right above this lava that's flowing up and down here. This should give us our movement back and cancel the glitch. And then we're gonna do a lag RA jump to hopefully get us through the floor. Nice, there we go. So you press R plus A and lag the game with the select menu, and it just lets you clip through floors.
So
We're gonna do another bash boost here. wait for the platform to fall. Just like that, and now we're gonna go do Monumental Bash. This is one of my favorite bash boosts in the game.
Shouts to John.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, he actually found this. So we're gonna bash boost off this laser beam up to the mini boss, and instead of having to wait around for the eyelids to open, we can just face tank it and just instantly destroy the boss. And that's playing topless. And I'm gonna throw it over to Chatter to try to explain the nonsense you're about to see here.
So we have a problem and a solution at our hands. Our problem, our paddy wagon is completely busted. We need to drive back to the Krusty Krab to save the town and Mr. Krabs. We need 50 tokens to repair that paddy wagon, and we only have 41 tokens. At this point, Sam's going to warp to the Shell City Dead Ahead Spongeball level. At this level, it has SpongeBob as a character in the level. Remember when we did that upgraded bowl earlier? That going to the Shell City Dead Ahead Spongeball level sets this as the last level that we were in that has SpongeBob. So now Sam is taking a little bit of time where Mindy gives us a bit of actionable frames to drive forward and into a pit. And since we had that bowl shroud when we warped and we went to Shell City Dead Ahead Spongeball,
Yes!
Sam's gonna reload here and every challenge is going to be active at once. We're now going to reload the level and Mindy is no longer going to stop us from having our paddy wagon.
Yeah, so this is essentially skipping 9 tokens, which is about a 20-minute time save. It's actually ridiculous how much time that saves. And that's really scary too, because due to the way that the game works underneath the hood, depending on how many loading screens that you take getting in here, there's a 1 in 4 chance that that trick will not work. And if you don't quit out and leave the level fast enough, it will crash your game.
Something just to give an idea of how much of a miracle this is, this trick takes kind of where our upgraded bowl was in memory and take at a certain offset within memory, just starts corrupting things. And it just corrupts in this level so perfectly based on what was set in the Shell City Dead Ahead Spongeball Challenge, where we're able to do this trick. You can do this kind of setup in the other driving levels as well, where it activates all the challenges. If you beat them, it does not let you beat them because Mindy is sort of disabled at this point. What's super fortunate about this level is that once we complete the level, with this glitch or not, Mindy does not talk to us. We celebrate grabbing the token and we warp straight to the final boss of the game, which is Neptune.
Yeah, that is the only reason this even works, by the way.
Complete miracle.
It is a complete miracle that we have this, and thank God, because it just makes this so sick. I think something we forgot to mention as well, just because we got so caught up in this, is the name of the category.
Yes,
so,
I was thinking that.
It's actually possible to beat this game even faster than we are right now. This is kind of the main leaderboard category because of something called pause storage. It allows you to duplicate Goofy Goober tokens, which it's a really cool glitch and a cool run, but you end up seeing kind of the same levels over and over
Yes.
again.
Oh, middle door.
Middle door.
Yeah, it's a super neat trick. Sadly, it is. Well, there's different ways to do it on GameCube, PS2 versus Xbox, but it lets you duplicate tokens and warp anywhere. It's super neat, but then it comes down to the run being get to the place to get the fastest tokens, get those tokens, and respawn all of them.
Yeah.
So this is our main leaderboard category.
Yeah. And so, by the way, if any of this looks intimidating, there is also something called no major glitches, which bans. Oh, baby.
Nice.
All right, so we're for swag, we are throwing on a costume for SpongeBob during the final fight here. So we're coming up on the final boss now. This has been such a blast so far. I just want to say thank you again to everyone for letting us show this game off, but the game is not going to let us go off without a hitch here. We've got a very difficult final boss here. This hard-walled a lot of people, including myself and my brother growing up, which is the Neptune fight. And so Turn the Tables on Plankton is going to start with a guitar input, which is going to force the boss to block the attack and start this first phase faster. So our goal is to spin these tables like all in one phase and like try to avoid any like meaningful downtime. This flamethrower attack is very difficult to dodge, and we really don't want to get hit because if we do, he resets his attack cycle, meaning we'd have to sit through another 3 flamethrowers. So we got through the first phase just fine. The second phase is harder because we're put in a bit more of an uncomfortable position. Now we're gonna upgrade the Sonic Wave guitar for a damage buff. Again, the unupgraded version has better frame data, and so because of that, we wait until the very last possible minute.
You're also going to note that little skirt that Neptune has on. How we talked about earlier that the shroud from our upgraded bowl kind of gets stored in what we call bowl storage. That shroud gets placed at position 000 at the origin. So this shroud, since we never bowled to get rid of it, is still sitting in this Neptune fight. And thankfully, it is not set up to a point where we can do Mindy skip, but this fight doesn't crash. Like it is, I cannot emphasize enough how much of a miracle it is. Not just that this skip was found, which shout outs to Sam as well as a previous runner, Fogey, for finding this at like 1:30 a.m. while just messing around. But the fact that this all works so nicely that we're able to show you guys this run.
Yeah. I want to mention as well, so we don't gloss over, that was a perfect phase 1. That is a really hard part of the fight. These lasers are a bit easier to deal with generally because we can bait the boss into spawning the center of the circle in specific positions so we can just run away. We're also going to see something funny with the lasers in phase 3 as well. But as we make our way into phase 3, I'm going to need some help from the crowd because there is a very hyped song that plays at the end of this game, and I think some of y'all might know what's coming. So if y'all know the words, I want you all to sing along with us because let's wake up Pittsburgh. How about it, everybody?
And if you're watching on Twitch, definitely sing along in text too.
Absolutely.
You can sing along out loud in Twitch too. I don't mind.
Yeah.
As long as your house is fine with it.
Yeah, as long as your house is cool with it. Yeah.
Wake your parents up. They need to sing too.
Yeah, they need to see this.
Yeah.
That 10-year-old and 7-year-old, you guys sing along with us. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here comes the banger. Yeah! So right here, we're gonna make sure that we take care of these spitters. You don't actually have to kill them, but for some people, it makes it a little bit safer. I'm one of the weirdos who doesn't decide to kill them. But in this section, we're also gonna notice as well that if you look down, because the center of the radius for the electricity is off camera far enough, it deloads the hitboxes. And we get this beautiful view of King Neptune here as well. We've got 2 more hits here. We got this one and one more. Time is coming up soon on final hit here. This has been an amazing run, Sam. Let's close this out. All right, let's make it happen.
Sam, don't mess up.
Dude, I won't.
Do not mess
I would
this up.
never.
You're like, he
Messes it up.
That happened all during
That was part
practice.
of the script, I promise.
Yeah, it was written in.
Wait, you have the script on you?
No. I have it on my phone.
Oh, word. So now we get to see the full bowl shroud just because the floor is broken. We can see it all going down there, which is super neat.
All right, final hit is coming up soon.
One more of these, then we're...
Yeah.
Some
So
of
get ready on
these.
time.
Time's gonna end when we get that final hit on Neptune and you see his health bar drop to 0.
Yeah, so again, the electricity doesn't spawn here at all, so we don't got to worry about it. You are tempting the fates right there, dude. All right, get ready on time in just a second here. 1, 2, and time.
Good stuff, Sam.
105 is actually kind of crazy.
That is insane.
That's awesome.
Woo! That is so good.
That's 2 minutes off my PB right now.
Oh my
And
God.
you did BBBH SpongeBob twice.
Yeah, I did.
That's crazy.
Unfreaking believable. But yeah, that was the SpongeBob SquarePants movie No Pause Storage. We'll try to go through shoutouts quick here because we're trying to catch up a little bit. Tedious, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. First, I want to give a shout out to Chris, who's not the monster. My friend, ChrisFS222. He was world record when I started. Manix05, probably the funniest person I've ever met. And the best commentator we had for our races back in the day, the amazing Dr. Corporal British.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
Shouts to Brit, dude, my homie.
Yeah, so again, as Pepperpot kind of said, and I said earlier, shout outs to the modding community. We have a community of really talented and smart people working to mod not just this game, but also Battle for Bikini Bottom, which we've mentioned, and the other games that Heavy Iron Studios worked on for this console, such as the Incredibles game and Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights. So if you're interested in that, am I able to say a website or is that no?
Yeah, go for it.
If you're interested in that, check out our mods at heavyironmodding.org.
Yeah. Gonna try not to get emotional here. We have been submitting this game since, in some way or form, since like 2013. So this really means a lot to me. Not only that Sam submitted and got this in, but just that we get to. This is really the game and the community that really took me in when I got my start with speedrunning. So I'm just really grateful to the people that surround these games. Thank you all so much. You know who you are. I just want to mention as well that we have a community Discord as well. You can find us at speedrun.com/TSSM. There's tutorials there. There's the Discord link there. If you want to check out other people's runs, feel free to go there. I'd like to shout out 2 other people as well. I want to shout out the current world record holder, Purple, who is just an absolute freak of nature at this game. Has like a 100, just unbelievable at this game, and has pushed this game so much farther than any of us ever could have believed. So huge shout outs to you, Purple. Thanks for putting us on the map. I also want to thank Cole as well, who worked on this game and found a ton of stuff for it in like the old days. And is just a legend in the SpongeBob community. So thank you for all the work that you've put in for us as well. But Sam, where can people find you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/BubbleBastard. I did say that correctly, but I can say it once only. So.
Yeah. Write that
Make
down.
a count.
Write that down,
I
write
want
that
to shout
down.
out my couch behind me, obviously. They did great. I want to shout out the movie community as well, and also the greater Bob community as well. Every game in this is like incredible. Everyone's super nice. Again, shout out to my local Guilty Gear scene. They're great. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Thank
for
you so
having
much
us.
for having us, everybody. Keep donating for the lesbians, please.
Please.
We need
We need that.
lesbians.